So you get an overwhelming feeling that rushes through your entire body. You get a bit of a nervous twitch. You
shaking very hard. Tavin's gonna pull out the gun and point it down the stairs and go, who's there? Who's there? But, like, the gun is very clearly not straight.
Okay. As you are standing there with the gun pointing more so just down the stairs as opposed to directly at this figure, trembling in your hand, you get a feeling that things around you aren't necessarily just this figure. You start getting an overwhelming feeling that there could perhaps be a bigger sense of others, and it's quite a claustrophobic darkness starts to sweep in and encumber you. Carrigan, Joshua, and Andrea, you all step out of the communications room that you were in, and you turn and see Tavin standing at the top of the doorway to the stairs, gun pointed, shaking, trembling, and staring out that way. Tavin hasn't moved and is just staring down the stairs, and that's when the three of you see a figure with a hood just standing, staring back up at you.
Menacing.
Very menacingly.
So with a hood. So this is like a person?
Yes. This is a clothed figure.
Oh, that's new. Is that new?
Shine my tack light down on him.
You shine it down and illuminate the area, and standing in front of you, the figure is... The hood doesn't cover everything, like the face is there, and it is a human face, and they are wearing a colonial marine spacesuit, and as you shine the light, they do sort of not wince, but they kind of react to the brightness of the light and slowly begins to step up the stairs towards you.
Pvt Carvalho?
The head whips towards you, Andrea, and they take another step or two towards you so that more of their body is now kind of above the top step so that you can see more of their form, and they slowly take off their hood, and after a bit of a delay where again it looks as if they're trying to process, he turns to you, Andrea, and says, "Who's asking?" You can't hear what they're saying, but you can hear that it's a bit of like a whisper. Is again, it's as if they're processing, and then they take another few steps up to where they're at the top of the stairs, So they're about maybe 4 or 5 meters from you. And that's where you can hear them whispering, "What's my story? What's my story? What's my story?" And just repeating the question that Andrea's asked them.
We're not here to do you any harm.
And when you say that, that's where they look up to you, Andrea, and then while they have like eye contact with you, they slowly avert their gaze to Tavin holding their pistol.
If I could, I would like to get next to Tavin, put a hand on his shoulder, and start to be like, "Hey, let's holster weapons."
The second you touch Tavin is like the first time he's even acknowledged that y'all are here, and he jumps and he looks at you like deer in headlights look, and his eyes kind of twitching.
Put your gun away.
He will slowly lower his gun.
Well, Dog Holiday. There. Now we can be friends again.
Yeah.
When Carrigan, when after you've done this to Tavin and you look back, you do see that the figure is now 3 steps down the stairwell again. And Andrea, at the moment where Carrigan had put their hand on Tavin's shoulder and Tavin had reacted in that kind of nervous twitch, the figure had kind of recoiled a few steps back as if in fright of that reaction. And you can kind of surmise that this person is shit fucking scared.
I'm gonna kind of tap Andrea on the shoulder, kind of like get her to like step aside. And be like, hey there, Private. It's Doc. Looks like you've been through some shit.
It's when you say that, and now instead of scanning, he is just focused on you, and he kind of looks you up and down. Are you making things any visible?
I'm actually gonna try and use my talent, Calming Presence,
Okay.
and just kind of like get that tone of voice, be like, "Hey, you been on some shit? We came on the station, and we walked into the shit too. We're here to help. So why don't we go somewhere where we can sit down, get you looked over, get you a hot cup of coffee, try and find something to eat. You can tell us what happened, and we're gonna get the fuck out of here. All right? Does that sound good?" It says once per you may reduce stress level of another character within damn it. It's not doing what I need the descriptor of it. Where's the tool? There it is. In short range, in addition to one, it's normally a rest period that you can lower the stress, but I'm trying to basically just kind of bring him down a little bit.
Okay. Hold on. I just want to look at one thing on your. Yeah, no, that's kind of fine. That's fine. I know what you're timing, so that's fine. When you say, like, you start speaking directly to them, you see them kind of stand up that little bit straighter. And at this point, you've came more to the kind of forefront thing. It's at that point where they're looking directly at you and they do notice your weapon at your side. And they immediately lock eyes with you. And that's when they kind of go, and that kind of excitable, so, come, you have to see. And that's when they start going down the stairwell.
All right, I'll follow.
The figure leads you down about 3 or 4 flights of stairs until you make it to the central floor of this space station. And as you break that final corner to go down the last flights of stairs, you see the figure prying, which looks like major security doors, like sliding security doors, prying them open and passing through and go into this section. So for you to get through, you will have to individually go through these doors.
And I guess I'm going first because he seems to. Yep, I'll go first.
Very well. It isn't a difficult thing to do, but you push the doors or slide them apart, and on the other side, it is darkness, but with sort of a glow on either side where there is a light source somewhere. So you slide the door apart and squeeze yourself through, and you find yourself in darkness.
Flashlight.
Okay. You take out your flashlight. Give me an observation.
I don't like this. Nothing.
Just real quick, if we're like following him in there, I would give everybody else the opportunity to go before me so that I would bring up the rear.
Okay. No, that's cool. Right.
No
Josh,
success, no fail, Chris.
Joshua, you pull yourself through these doors and they sort of shut again behind you. And that's what plunges you into the darkness. You take out your flashlight and you look up one side of the corridor, and there's a faint light beyond as it goes around the bend, but you can't see anything or anyone. You immediately turn around to the other side, and again there's a faint light in the distance, but again you cannot see anyone there.
I'm just gonna step to the side and assume everybody else is gonna step through, because I'm not going down that hallway alone.
So yes, it's only been a couple of seconds as you kind of whip around trying to catch your bearings, and the door starts to part again as the next individual comes through. Andrea or Tavin, who is going through second?
I'll go.
Not Tavin.
Okay.
I go.
Andrea, you
I ain't scared of nothing.
You, same as Joshua, pull the doors apart and squeeze yourself through, and the doors shut behind you. You, however, have the benefit of finding a flashlight wielding Joshua who is checking both sides of the corridor, trying to catch their bearings and just figure out what's happening.
Yeah.
Is there anything I could use to try and prop the door open so it can't close all the way?
Give me an observation.
3 successes.
3 successes.
Damn.
In a quick glance around, you do see what looks like just a metal rebar that looks like basically the perfect width to be able to just shimmy and jam it in low down so that the door will remain a good foot and a half width open to be able to get yourself through and have some form of light.
I'll grab that and I'll go through, and then when Carrigan comes through, I'll prop that into the door so that it doesn't close all the way.
Okay. Yeah, it's easy enough to do that. You get through. Carrigan, you have a look around to make sure that nothing's behind you. There's nothing in the stairwells. You're able to get through into the space with Andrea and Joshua. Tavin, you prop the door open, leaving the foot and a half gap, and now all four of you are in this corridor. It's up to you whether you want to go to the left or you want to go to the right. As you walk to the door, it is slightly open, but you do see through the... And this, Joshua, this is where things get weird for you. As you make that step into the doorway, into the door frame, the door is slightly or open so that you can see in. This entire room looks like a research facility. There's computer monitors, there's lab equipment, there's desks, tables, there's fridge units filled with vials and beakers and all that kind of stuff. This looks as if you have walked into this century. And you see your figure friend rummaging through drawers, pushing things out the way, grabbing things off of desks, and just rummaging through everything.
I'm gonna step aside so everybody else can walk through, but it would be like, what the?
Yeah.
Just kind of look around, do like a quick like scan of the room, see if anything pops out.
Okay. Do you want to approach?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Curiosity like a cat.
You go in, and a lot of the stuff you do recognize just from your own knowledge. It's just like your normal chemical compounds and minerals and stuff like that. You're looking about the table, and there's paperwork and files and stuff like that. One thing that does catch your eye, which isn't... You've never heard of it before, but one thing that is going through is a bunch of letters and numbers, and it is A0-3959X.91 15. I will.
I'm gonna say you're gonna message that to me, right? Because I can't type that fast.
Yes, I will send it to you. But you can't. You don't know what you've never heard of that number, but it isn't anything in the medical field that you've came across before. And Andrea,
Yeah.
you go in and you've had, by speaking to this figure and being kind of that first point of contact kind of thing, you kind of approach where the figure is kind of rummaging and collecting stuff, and they hand you just a bunch of crumpled up paper and stuff like that and files, and they kind of look at you and kind of go, look, and that's when they start pressing buttons on one of the consoles, and it just starts coming up with like email files and stuff like that. And as you're kind of like rummaging through, a lot of these messages are coming from the USCMC, which is the Colonial Marines Corps. As you're kind of scanning through, and they're talking about weaponizing, and these correspondents seem to be a lot more authoritative and demanding, and it's as if they are demanding updates and time or estimated times and stuff like that when things can be ready, that they want these trials done and the trials have to be thing. You see letters going or emails going back where it states that trials had hiccups and didn't go to plan, and they've had fatalities. They're looking for other rounds of pushing these trials and stuff like that. And there's the messages go between 3 people that seem to be in their fields. The majority of them come from 2 people. The ones that are going out, like talking about like trials and the results and stuff, is from Dr. Lena Nord. I'll send that name for you so you've got the spelling. The emails in the notes and that are coming in from the USCMC are coming from a Sergeant Mike Daunton. There's the next one. And these seem to be the most recent. And when you're looking at like the dates and stuff, the dates are from weeks ago, days ago, not that long. Like it's almost as if some of them are dated from the time you received correspondence that a military presence had been seen here. But as you're kind of glancing further back to try and get a better picture of what's going on, you do see a letter and or an email, and it's talking about how they need to speed up the process and get the trials done, that they can't hold off any longer. These have to be done so that they can begin to get what they're requiring from it. But they also kind of go into how they're no longer going to be in correspondence and they're being removed, and telling them to remove all evidence of their involvement in anything that had been. And it is signed off by a corporal or a colonel. Joshua, as they kind of grab your arm and kind of pull you in a direction and then let you go towards the center of the room, you do look at your jacket sleeve, and where he had grabbed you, there is black streaks now on the jacket. Andrea, you notice that the papers that they have handed you has finger marks that are black, almost like ink, over the papers that you are holding. If you are wanting to make that roll, Carrigan, you are free to do so. You do have the talents to be able to.
Okay. Two
Okay.
successes.
So as you kind of project your voice towards them, they do have
Ain't it all
a
business?
marine stature to turn to point. Make your mobility, Joshua.
Don't fuck this up, Josh.
Well, I was going to say you could have
Yes, here's the
a
one.
plus one. Yeah. So, yes, as the figure turns to Carrigan, Joshua, you are able to make that short distance to them, and you inject your sedative in. Give me
Hopefully
an
it works.
empathy roll.
Empathy, all right. One success on 4 dice. Ah, come on now.
As you do this, the figure turns to you and just looks at you in this overwhelming feeling of it's hard, I can't even explain. The facial expression of this figure is of sheer terror, like betrayal, where trust has been broken as they drop out cold on the floor.
I don't know how long that sedative is gonna take effect because I don't know what the eye shit does to people. So
Yeah.
we got to make a decision. Do we bind him and take him with us and try to find take him to the station and medical? Do we leave him here? Do we try to take what we can and dip out? We need to know what the next step is because telling you right now that this is above my damn pay grade, and this is definitely one of those black box operations that we probably shouldn't have found.
Why does Wayland Yutani give a shit about what the Colonial Marines are doing? I'm
That'd be
gonna
above
turn
my
to
pay grade, but I
Andrea
do
for
have
that.
a curious. Hey, Kerrigan,
Yes.
do you got a just question. Do you have a relative in the Marines who happens to be a colonel at the moment?
Carrigan, you don't have anyone that is a colonel in the Marines now, but you did.
Not currently.
Name
Why are
start with
you
an S?
So she's gonna get stony faced.
Roll.
What are you
Tavin-
asking me?
I'm asking you because these documents have some involvement with Colonel S. Mackenzie.
Tavin, give me an observation roll.
No.
Do you really want to play that game?
There.
I mean,
No, I don't.
Okay.
0 successes.
he doesn't. He doesn't want to give it to you at all.
You don't notice.
I don't notice anything.
Yep.
He's
Did
going.
you
You-
know
Just start.
that there's ground?
You have focused on one thing. You are just beelining for the closest stairwell. However, in your not noticing things, as you get to the stairwell, the doors are closed.
Okay, is it the door that I had propped open,
Yep.
or is this a different
Nope,
door?
this is the same
Oh.
door.
Okay. I'm gonna wait for the group to show up. 'Cause I'm not opening this door by myself. That's not happening. I'm not opening it by myself.
Game Mother, please let us know when we get there.
Yeah.
As you have stepped through, you do start to hear footsteps. And as you focus, you can hear them down the stairwell to the lower floors. But you can also hear them in the stairwell going up the way. You can also hear them in the corridor above you. And you can also hear them in the corridor below you. This is almost multiple sets of footsteps, some walking, some running, in different varying directions around you. Goes dark, and then Carrigan, you switch on your flashlight and light up the place. And as you do that, Carrigan, just in some haphazardly direction that you've done, as you are pointing it down the stairs, you do see two eyes darting away and down the stairs.
All right.
And can I I'll also Hey Joshua, I'm gonna take your flashlight since your hands are full.
Mm-hmm.
I'll take his
Poor
flashlight
man being
and kind of
pilfered.
do the same as Carrigan, where I got flashlight in one hand, gun in the other.
Okay. As you switch on yours, Tavin, and face it upstairs, two eyes dart upstairs away from you.
Motherfucker.
To your left, along a wall, there is a seating area. Crouched behind the end seat is a figure. In the main room, there are multiple pillars that go from floor to ceiling. And you do see 1, 2, 3 faces peering around 3 of the columns. And to your right, there is another figure peering around another one of the door frames. Joshua, can you give me a medical roll?
Yep. Nada. Either or.
Okay. As you have been focusing on these figures and just keeping your eye out to make sure that nothing was rushing or anything like that, as you get to the airlock, you start feeling movement and realize that you have not been paying attention to sedation levels of a certain individual. And
that fits.
as you are at the door, your friend begins to give out a blood-curdling scream as, even though bound, have a strange strength as they are now attempting to wriggle from your grasp.
Oh, fuck.
And as the screech rings out, the other figures, all Tavin and Carrigan and Andrea, you can all feel that even though in this distance, these figures are looking beyond you and looking at Joshua. As you fire your shot to try and warn those figures approaching, it doesn't have that effect. And the figures all begin encroaching, and it's almost like an agitated motion as these 7 figures now start to walk, crawl, and...
Quick question.
Yes.
These are human people, right?
Make an observation.
Not anymore.
Well, they were once, right?
They are all human. They are clothed. They have all things that you would consider human.
Without turning around, Tavin's gonna say to Joshua, I think they want the private. Maybe we should give them the
That's too
pirate
fucking
private."
bad. Get through the airlock.
Yeah, I'm just beating feet.
Okay. Joshua, as you hit the airlock button, nothing happens.
Alright, I'm gonna...
And then
I-
the door gives a loud hiss
Oh, thank God.
as it opens into the airlock tunnel.
You're a dick, but okay.
Okay. Before we go, I would like to send a message to my dad that says, "Oh, hey, I found this weird black goo at my
Simon.
Station.
and it got all over me. Nobody here can identify it, and I'm just gonna send it at that."
Okay.
So mean.
Message is sent. You can now await any reply.
Want to see, what his reaction to that is.
As you start getting situated, you do notice the red blinking light from your communications console of a message that has been received.
I'll hit it. I'll listen to it.
Okay. The message is dated around an hour and a half prior. So just after you would have gotten onto the station. And do you all have the sound up?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think so.
Yes,
I don't
although,
know.
well, let me make sure actually.
Right, hold on.
I will say I'm the only one in
Yes.
the bridge. So I'm the only one that would actually hear it.
Yes.
Yes.
And
we want to hear the wonderness.
the message that... Hold on, I just want to make sure that this is up. The message that comes through is...
We've been doing research within our station for the last couple of years. We have released a poison that has taken many lives. A poison that if anyone who touches will go mad. Have an eye on compasses then before taking their own lives. Do not come here, please. Stay away from Arceon.
Tavin will then try and get everyone into cryosleep because we don't have enough food for everyone to not be in cryosleep.
That's fair. Is
Maybe
everyone...
we probably have enough food for like one person to stay out of cryosleep, and that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
And since
is everybody willing and...
Everybody strip down to your skivvies. That's how cryosleep works.
Tavin will help everyone get into cryosleep first, since it's his ship and his system, and he's not going to get into cryosleep.
No, that's fine.
So, real quick, as everybody's getting ready for cryosleep, you guys would notice on Joshua's right back shoulder and all the way down to his elbow, there's a rather intricate tattooing done. And in the middle of it, there's a very specific military tattoo. That is something you can look into.
So
And then he just climbs into the cryo bed.
with that, Andrea, Carrigan, Joshua, and Jamie, the ship hand, all get into the cryopods. The Carvalho has been sedated and put into their own one at the opposite end from where everybody else is, just for extra security.
We're all gonna get infected.
And cryopod shut down, and you're all lullabied into a wonderful sleep. Tavin, about 10 days have passed since you've set off. The ship is back to the regular quiet that you are accustomed to. I'm guessing you can hear that.
Yeah, fucking made the hair stand up on my fucking arms.
Great. So, Tavin,
Jesus Christ, fuck's sake. Yeah.
10 days in with the quietness, you find yourself that you've had to go out to do minor repair work on Martha. Just a little odd little thing. You're working away, sharing conversation with her, just what you would normally do when you're yourself on your ship on these kind of runs. Everything is quiet around you as you are in your suit on the outer shell of Martha. Despite the terrifying feeling of being in space that you have, it also brings that strange feeling of peace away from the noise, the grumblings. This is where you can be alone with yourself while you work. You reach over to grab a wrench to do this bit of work. Then it hits. Zero warning. Something, a small piece of debris, hits Martha. Rocked by this impact, there's a high-pitched ringing in your ear. Disorientated, you reach around trying to get yourself back to focus. As your senses and focus comes back, the blurriness fades. That's when you've noticed your tether to the ship has snapped, and you find yourself slowly drifting away from Martha. You reach out with all your might, try to grab on everything with your gloves and that, nothing works. You try to grab something, anything, but no.
Tavin's screaming too. He's no, fuck no.
You call out for help, screaming, pleading for someone to hear you. Martha slowly gets further from you. You're then hit with this overwhelming silence of space. The silence that once gave you that peace. The only sound that you hear is your heavy breathing. You try to stay calm, but everything's coming back to you. The hopelessness. You look around and it's just darkness, a void in space. Your heart is beating out your chest. You try screaming again, but this is where the old adage comes to mind that no one can hear you out here. A wave of terror overcomes you. You can feel the heaviness in your chest. You're pulled back to the hope that a ship will come by, but as you see Martha get smaller in your vision, you know that she was your only hope, your only way for survival. Now you're just floating in a complete nothingness. You look around again, and that's when you see it. Just beyond your grasp is another spacesuit. You're almost pulled towards it and grab on. You look into the helmet and you're completely washed with fear. It's you. Void of life, just floating in space. You push it off, try and get away, and something bumps into the back of you. You turn in panic, and it's another body. It's another you, just floating. Same as before, you push it away. That's when you see them. 1, 2, 5, 10, 20, all floating around you, facing you. Martha no longer in sight. All you see are these bodies surrounded by emptiness. You uncontrollably begin to scream. A deafening overload of terror escapes your lungs. After a few seconds, silence resumes. You're here. This is it. There's nothing left for you. Nobody's coming. You close your eyes, and as you slowly come to terms with your fate, hoping that it will be painless, that it will all be over soon, as the darkness consumes you. Then you lurch forward, eyes wide, sweat pouring from your brow, and as you look around, you find yourself in your bunk. Silence. Safe.